Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Hey, coach.
Hey, hey, hey.
How are you?
Good. Excited to be here. See how I can help.
Thank I you. Didn't realize you were in Carlisle yet. I should have assumed, but
Oh, come on. I'm German. I'm not taking this lightly here. This is a great opportunity, Sweet 16, so got to get everything ready.
Respect, yeah. Well, congratulations on making it this far, and thank you for your time. We
Yeah,
appreciate it.
seriously.
No worries at all. Any way I can help.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, we just want to, be the best informed we can be so we can have the best broadcast possible. So I guess in that fashion, can you kind of tell us how you guys like to play as a team, kind of tactically, and what your what it looks like?
Yeah, I think we're a very versatile team and playing in a group like the NESCAC. I think everything is needed. You need to be able to play through teams. You need to be ready on set pieces. You need to be able to go direct sometimes if the other team is pressing really hard. So I think we're very versatile and we're very able to adapt on what the opposition throws at us, but also understanding that we're really strong and we can impose ourselves on the opposition.
Yeah, kind of going off that point of the NESCAC, can you talk about how playing in that tough of a conference kind of compares to the NCAA tournament and just the level and the quality of teams that you're playing in that, round of 64 and then to 32?
Yeah, I mean, don't quote me wrong here, but I think it's five of the six top teams in the country based on NPI were from the NESCAC. And if you get to play basically a national top five team every single weekend on a Saturday, I mean, that's incredible. And that obviously prepares you. And I think like we just talked about, everybody plays a different style too, a different formation, has different strengths. So I think it really, really prepares you for the tournament. And as you saw, I think we had eight teams in, and I think every single one of them survived the first round. So I think that speaks volume for the league, and every Saturday is really fun. So I think sometimes like I personally don't like the games where you like win 7 or 8-0. Like that's not as exciting. So I love that 5 minutes left in the game in a NESCAC, and no matter if you play the first or the last team in the league, it's one goal kind of game. So that's really, really exciting for me, and that for sure really prepares you for the national tournament.
You think your team takes confidence out of the fact that you're playing those top five teams throughout the season? So then even like the NCAA tournament, which is supposed to be maybe tougher, can actually kind of be a little easier, and then your conference.
Yeah, I would never say anything gets easier.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the wrong way to approach it. But I do think that the team gets a lot of confidence knowing, hey, we just played the number three team in the country and we beat them. And I think those kind of moments, they help you. And I think they give you confidence for sure.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit more about the adaptability of the team? Do you think that's something that the roster lends itself to, or is that something that you've kind of ingrained in the team these last couple years?
Yeah, I think it's I'm a big coach. I'm a big believer in people's strengths. Look, I'm trying to again, even per position, right? If we have a right back and he's very good at dribbling out of the back, then I want to give him that confidence that he can do that, right? We have a center back who played 2 years for us as an attacking midfielder. And if he wants to dribble out of the back, then he gets to dribble out of the back. And I think knowing that we have players who can do certain things and different things, that there isn't a player profile per se, like our center back needs to do this. It's what's the strength of the player I'm about to put in that will help us win the game. That gives me a lot of confidence. And I think our players also know that they get to do what they would like to do in any given moment, and that coach believes in them.
Hey, you bring up the point of bringing in players and kind of your usage. I noticed that Mitchell and Bencourt, your two leading goal scorers, are more subs. Can you talk about like, I guess your method or your idea with using those guys as subs rather than starters?
Yeah, for us, subs, I think it's the wrong word. I think it's about what the game needs at certain moments. And again, as you look in our roster, like we played two tournament games last weekend, and again, don't quote me, but I think 24 players played, and
Mhm.
each of the 24 had at least 30 minutes of playing time in a national tournament. And neither game was, again, I think we scored the 3-1 in the first game, I think after 70 minutes. So it was a really, really tight games. And I just have belief in everyone, and people just have to do what they need to do in the right moment. So for me, it's not about he's a sub or he's a starter, or it's a when is your skill set needed, and when can you be most affected. And um, I think those two are both first years. I think almost every goal beside one or two goals all season was scored by a first year or second year, which is really, really incredible. And I think that's whatever they bring to the day is really exciting. So Lorcan last weekend, I think, started both times the second half. And the weekend before, he didn't start the second half. So it's just really when they're needed to do what the team needs them to do.
So can you talk about kind of the recruiting process when you know you're going to be having 24, if not more players kind of contributing to the on the field?
Recruiting process in what sense?
Just like in terms of profiles and stuff like that, knowing that you're going to be using so many guys, are you looking for a different type of players so you can kind of adapt with the guys on your bench, or how does that work for you?
No, I think I'm very similar to all coaches. We're trying to recruit first, hopefully the best human, right? Like I think it's really important that we recruit someone who we'd like to go to practice on a normal Thursday afternoon. And if that checks out, the next thing is can they get into the school, right? Like I think that's important.
Yeah.
But when it comes to playing, I'm trying to recruit the best players possible. Just like every other coach, I don't think you will find a coach who will answer that question with, I'm trying to recruit a substitute or someone who plays 5 minutes. We're trying to recruit the best players possible every single year. And I have two recruiting classes in right now. So so half of the team was recruited by me and half the team was recruited by the coach before. But I'm really proud of all four classes who are in. And again, we had a national final run 2 years ago. And so they're seniors right now who are experiencing all this for the second time. And I'm really, really proud of them. And yeah, when it comes to recruiting, just try to get the best players if they are good people too, and if they're able to get into Williams, which is a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, coach, you bring up the 2022 team that made the run to the championship game. Can you talk about how just a benefit of this having those players older now, juniors and seniors, able to, you mentioned the first years and sophomores. Can you talk about, as a coach, how have you seen them impact the program and, help, the newer players kind of come in and, build their, their growth and the team and the game?
Yeah, I think it can't be understated how important those
Mhm.
seniors are this year. We have 9 seniors. We actually have 4 senior captains. And it's incredible how they're carrying the team, how they're showing them the ropes. Yeah, I couldn't be prouder of those 9 seniors and how they're helping guiding this very, very young team. And I think that makes a big difference.
And specifically in terms of the playing in the NCAA, how important do you think that experience is, knowing what it's like to make a deep run? Do you think that plays a factor for your team?
Yeah, I wouldn't, again, like I think we talked a little bit about before, like having the playing NCAA caliber teams like week in and week out, and even our non-conference schedule is very tough. We played multiple other, so we only get to play 15 games and obviously 10 NESCAC teams and 5 non-NESCAC teams, and half of the non-conference teams, they also made it to the NCAA. So you basically playing NCAA games, right? If you look at half of our non-conference games made it, and 8 out of the 10 games we played, they also made it into the NCAA. So we basically played 13 games before we even had an NCAA games, and then we played two NESCAC tournament games, and there were also 2 NCAA teams. So we have played before we even got to the NCAAs 15 NCAA teams, which is incredible, and I think that prepares you. And yeah, so it never hurts, but I also think that even the players who haven't been making that run, they understand the level and they understand what it takes. And so the NESCAC in itself and the way I try to schedule, having a really, really tough non-conference schedule as well, really supports them being here at this moment now.
And then kind of touching back on the Messiah game, for example. So far this year, you guys are 2-2 in double overtime games. Can you talk about the confidence that instills in the team and kind of just like the ability for those players to be able to play 120, plus minutes and still, get the job done without going to penalties, or in that sense, penalties, yeah.
What do you mean by 2-2?
You won 2 games in double overtime this year.
That's right. Oh, so I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just like
yeah.
talking about the confidence in, like, 120 minutes is never easy to play. Just
Like as the game gets later, you
Yeah.
guys like how
find
yeah.
the last kind of push to, equalize and finish the game.
Yeah, I think that's 2 things, right? First of all, like we believe in everyone on the roster. I think that's really important, that I'm not afraid to put someone in who maybe isn't a starter or usually gets a lot of minutes. Like in these moments, if someone is tired and they can't go anymore, and then someone comes in, even if they don't have as many minutes if it doesn't go to overtime. And I think that makes us really unique, that we believe in everyone. And then we also spend a lot of time on the mental side of the game. Like I have a doctorate in that kind of field, so I think I'm very excited that we spend that extra time with the team, and because it also comes down to nerves and decisions and staying focused, and believing in yourself, right? And because no matter who you play in double overtime, you're playing a team where the game is back and forth, and you're gonna have to survive some adversity. And how you're dealing with that adversity, I think if you're used to it and you know how to handle it, and that makes a big difference. So I think the two main factors is that we believe in everyone in the roster, but that we do also spend a lot of time on the mental side of the game.
Yeah, we were super impressed
Yeah.
with the the sports leadership and the bachelor's degrees in exercise science and psychology. Can you kind of expand on that and how that plays a role in your coaching?
Yeah, like for me, I always wanted to be a coach. I started very young when to coach, and I was like, well, what does it take to be the best coach? And I did it very specific. I wanted to learn about the body, and that's why I did an exercise science degree. But I also know that most of the stuff goes on in here, right? Because the difference on a good and a bad day usually isn't your technique. So it has a lot to do with the mental side of the game. So I wanted to study that, and then I combined it two for my master, and did a master in sports psychology. And then again, leadership, right? It's the new pinnacle afterwards, right? And that's why I got my doctorate in sports leadership. So I just wanted to be the best coach I can be, and just really help support the athletes, whatever they need. And I really loved my experience as a student. And yeah, I love supporting and guiding young athletes now. And I think those choices of my major has really, really helped me.
You talk about the mental side as a player during your playing career. Is that something that you wish that you might have like thought about when you were playing? Kind of like, I wish I had this, knowledge and ability to understand, the mental side more. Or is that something you realized afterwards, where you was kind of like, this will help me regardless? But during your playing career, did you think you could have used that, or just realize how important that is?
Yeah, quite honestly, I grew up in the Union Berlin Academy, which is one of the best academies in Germany, and I was very fortunate to have really good coaches, and we had really good support staff. Like we had psychologists and all these things. What you now have too. So I was very fortunate, and I can't say a bad thing. Like I thought my education as a player has really helped me to be a really good coach too, and was very fortunate to have that playing background back home in Germany.
Can you expand a little bit on the success of your back line and what you kind of attribute that to? I mean, that they've been such a strength for you guys all year, it seems.
Yeah, I think the first thing is leadership. I think if you have a player like Ben Diffley, who was again National Goalkeeper of the Year 2 years ago, and who's just a fantastic leader, but before the player, because quite honestly, and I don't know what the shot count is, he usually doesn't make more than 2 or 3 saves a game. And the teams we are playing, that he only has to make 2 or 3 saves, that means he's organizing the back line very well. And then we have another captain with Felipe Gutierrez who plays in there. And those two are just absolute leader for us, because in and around the back line, there's a lot of freshmen, there's a lot of sophomores who are getting a lot of minutes in that holding mid and back four shape. And I just think those two really hold it together, and organizing it. Because again, you have some skills, but if no one organizes that, or you're always in the wrong spot, then your skill won't help you. And especially since one of our all conference guys, another sophomore who played every minute of every game until he went down 5 games ago, Griffin Lebonsky, that those two really stepped up even more. So really, really proud of those two. And I think that's where the success comes from, that those two leaders. And then obviously we have some tremendous players who fill the spots around it.
You talk about the leadership. Can you talk about kind of for Ben Diffley, how he's developed from 2022 to now after winning goalie of the year, just being an older senior now, having the experience. Can you talk about watching his growth and development as a leader and a player on the field?
Yeah, it's been so cool to see. I think Ben always had a little knack for leadership, and he was always someone who thought about his teammates and how he can help the team, and just fostering throughout the years has been great. And but he really, I don't want to take any of the credit here. Like he's just someone who always had that, and he always was a captain on his younger teams, and I just yeah, I was there to guide and support where he needed it. And again, we read some leadership books, we have leadership discussions, and that has helped. But I think deep down, he's just innate a really, really good leader, and that's just been going up since he gets older, right? Like in 2022, he was an underclassman, so that's different. And we had, I think, 8 seniors that year who were super seniors, 50 years. So again, even there, Ben kind of found his role and how he can support the 8, but now he really is one of the absolute main leaders, and it's amazing to witness how he has grown into that main leadership role.
You think there's anything that we haven't touched on that you think we should know about your team or just anything in general?
No, I just think we're excited. I think you will see a lot of energy from our team. You see a lot of excitement. Like I know that sounds odd, but even when we sometimes lose a game, I think the guys are just happy to compete, right? That's something we always talk about, that it's the happiness and the guys counting the days, right? That's one of the things in the locker room. It's all about how many games do we have, but that means how many practice we get to be together again. So it's literally the numbers right now, right? We're trying to earn another 10 days of practice. And guys are just really excited to be with each other. I think that's something you will see when you look on the field, that it doesn't matter if it's a freshman or sophomore or senior. A senior will happily get subbed out for a freshman and is happy to see them succeed. And I think that makes our team very special, and we're very proud of that. So little moments, I think, when you go see out there, no matter if we're up or down, the guys are supporting each other and they're happy to be there. So obviously we hope we win, but I think it's a really, really good group. I love working with every day.
Thank you very
Thank you so much.
We
I'm looking forward
appreciate
to seeing you tomorrow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Best
Yeah.
of luck this weekend.
Yeah, good luck.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
So
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.